Hey everyone, welcome to Farm Charm Chic, where I do DIY inspiration on a budget. Alright, so the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to use this shadow box from Dollar Tree, some of the miniatures from their village line, and the Merry Christmas ornaments, and then one of their small Christmas trees. So what I'm going to do is make a little bit of a shadow box of my own to put in one of my three-tiered trays. So I'm just going to remove the center. I love the plaid background and tried so hard to be able to use that and keep it, but there was literally no way unless I wanted to leave the little three-dimensional square on there. I tried so hard to pull it up and not rip the back, and then I tried so hard everything I could think of to keep that plaid, but it just didn't work. So I did have to go raid my craft paper stash. So you'll kind of see me here and my thought process and everything that I do and how exactly I play around and kind of see which looks the best, what I like the most. And I do end up staying with the classic black and white. It's more of a black and cream really on the craft paper. So, or scrapbook paper, I guess is what it really should be called. So just kind of watch and see what I do. I'm just going to cut the paper down to size. I don't glue it into the back. I leave it just like a, I don't know, just a teeny bit larger than the box itself so I can kind of crease the edges in with my nails. You'll see what I do here and how I get that in. After I have the paper all in place, I'm going to go ahead and play around. This is the fun part, to kind of see how I want everything set up. I do decide that the base of the tree is just not going to work. It's kind of clunky. It makes it not fit the nicest. So I finally decide how exactly it's all going to fit in there. And guys, I absolutely love this little truck and this camper. I just think it is so cute. I don't know. I'm so happy with how all of this ends up looking. So I'm just going to use some hot glue and just place that Merry Christmas. I kind of place it all over intermittently to kind of get it to stick to the paper. And then again, I just eyeball it. You can measure it to be a little bit more exact if you want. And then I do kind of bend the bristles on that bottle brush tree kind of so it sits more flush against the back. And then I just put like a whole ton of glue down to stick the base, and then I do glue around it once I'm holding it in, and I even stick my glue gun kind of behind the bristles to give it a little something to attach to on the actual scrapbook paper on the background. And then you can just kind of watch how I glue everything else in here. And then I am just taking some jute twine and just looping it around my fingers a couple of times and then tying it off in the middle with another piece of twine just to make a little bit of a bow. And then I'm just going to glue that onto the top just to give it a little bit of visual interest, make a little bit of texture. I love bows. I think they add so much. So if that's not your thing, you definitely don't have to add that. But I think that this is such a super simple and easy craft, guys. It was so quick. I mean, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, super easy. You should definitely try it if you can find all of this stuff and make it your own. But here you can see it in my three-tiered tray. I just think it looks so cute in there. I love the colors. I love the red truck. Of course, that is just very in this year. So I just think that it turned out great. All right, moving on to the next project, I'm going to use some embroidery hoops that I ordered from Amazon. Also these gift tags that I bought at JoAnn's, and then just whatever greenery that you want to use, embellishments. And also I use some black acrylic paint. Now I have seen so many of these ideas on Pinterest using the embroidery hoops, and I thought it would be so fun. I thought these gift tags match my tree so perfect this year, so I was trying to come up with a way to incorporate them. And so I go ahead and paint the hoops with the black acrylic paint. I do want to say, so they're like a bamboo, I think is what they're made of, and I think a chalk paint would actually adhere a little bit better and give a little bit better coverage. I just only had acrylic paint, so that's what I used. And I realized very quickly that these gift tags, they don't really fit in between. So, you know, when you do embroidery, you put your fabric over the one, and then you use this larger one with the little sizing doohickey at the top. I have no idea the actual term for that. So if you know, definitely leave me a comment. Let me know what that's called. A fastener, maybe? Anyway, I can't sandwich it between the two, so I decide just to use the larger size hoop that has the fastener, we'll go with that, on it. And then I just put a little bit of hot glue around the edge to kind of keep that tag down all around. And then I just go ahead and of course I trim up these evergreen picks that I get at the Dollar Tree. I go ahead and, you know, kind of give them like a little bit of a trimming to make them look a little bit better so it doesn't take over the whole project. And then I just kind of play around. You can see what I do here. I just kind of glue them up at the top and add some little berries and all sorts of fun things. It is hanging on my tree. I am so in love with how it turned out. I did take some of the jute twine and made a loop at the top so I could hang it from the branches. I'm so happy that I was able to take something like a gift tag and turn it into a fun DIY. I had fun making it, and I am really in love with how it looks on my tree. What do you guys think? Okay, for this next one, I'm going to use one of the I always want to call them a glass bowl, but they're not. The plastic Dollar Tree ornaments, as well as some of the nautical rope from Dollar Tree. And then I'm also going to use some baker's twine, which you can get at Dollar Tree, but I did order mine on Amazon. I felt like the quantity that you get from Amazon is a larger amount for a better price than what you get at Dollar Tree. Anyhow, I take the nautical rope and I take the strands and unwind them. So you end up with 3 separate strands of just the little piece of rope, as you can see here. So it's just like one little cord of the rope. And I go ahead, I glue the end so it's not going to fray. And then I start wrapping it around the bulb, ball, ornament. I don't know what we want to call it. Let's just go with ornament. So I wrap it around. Clearly I'm struggling with my terms today. So anyway, I keep wrapping it around, and I do glue this every bit of the way because I want it to stay down. I don't want any of it popping off at any point. So I glue a little bit and I wrap, and I do kind of twist it as I wrap it. That way it keeps its shape because it does kind of want to uncurl. So you can kind of watch how I do that here. once I get to the end of that cord, I go ahead and glue the end so it's not going to fray and get it as flat as I can. And then I take the next cord from the rope and do the same thing on the end of it. And I just merge them the best I can to meet, so that way it looks as seamless as I can get it. And then I just continue the process of going around, and I do this every time the cord runs out. I used all of 2 of the cords and a little bit of the third cord, if that makes sense. There's 3 cords to a nautical rope, so I had a little bit left over at the end, but just a little bit. This is where I'm starting the third one here, and so you can kind of see how much I end up using here. So then I take the baker's twine and I just go ahead and do the exact same thing with it as I did with the nautical rope. However, like I just started at the end of the ornament, I just put a couple little glue dots and I go in between, just in between that seam of each strand of the nautical rope cord, and just kind of go in that negative space, if that makes sense. You can kind of just watch what I do here. And I just do this through the whole ornament from one end all the way around to the other end. Tree greenery onto it, and I also make a tassel, 2 tassels actually, out of the baker's twine, and attach those on to give it a little bit of softness, kind of add some visual interest to it. I am so happy with how this turns out. Look at it on my tree. I think it looks so darling. It is so fun. I've actually had so many compliments on this from different people wondering where I got it at. Super easy. It does take a little bit of time, but I feel that it turned out so cute. Okay, for this next DIY, I go ahead. I actually got a miter box from Home Depot. Well, actually, I bought it at Lowe's, sorry. $10, I think, is what I paid for it. I bought some of the paint stir sticks, the large ones. They come in a package, 3 for $1. And then this package of signs from JoAnn's at 50% off was about $3. So I bought it for this first sign. I had no idea what these other signs looked like, and I was ecstatic when I saw the snowflake sign. I immediately knew what I wanted to do with that one. So what I do is I open up these sticks, and they're rulers on one side. So use the measurements on the other side. It didn't even dawn on me, so I'm just giving you that tip. I just kind of drew a line and measured them to where I wanted it to, the size I needed to go around the outside of the sign, and I went ahead and just kind of made sure that they all fit. You can kind of see exactly what I want to do here, so I'm just kind of eyeballing and going. Again, the other side is a ruler. You could go off of that. And then I'm going to go ahead and stain these with the antique wax from Waverly. not how I suggest doing this, but I just want to show you that when you're crafting, not everything turns out perfect the first time. So I try E6000 because I think, oh, I don't want this falling off if it's hanging on my wall. So I do a combination of glue and E6000, and I glue the sides on first. Well, then I realized that I didn't measure right, and you can see me there frustrated that I need to readjust them, and I cannot pull these sides off. That glue is stuck. So I have to go back and I have to cut out a couple more to measure them to the sides. So in the future, I would connect the frame before putting it on the box lid. I don't know why it didn't make sense to me in the beginning to do that, but I ended up coming around and figuring it out. I then glue some twine onto the back for a hanger in case I want to hang it, and I put a lot of glue so it holds it really well. So I did end up getting a stapler at Lowe's for about $8 or $9 to use to do this next part. This is how I would recommend doing it. Hot glue, I feel, is all you would need with this. You don't need to mess around with the E6000. At least, I mean, I've had this hanging up for a few weeks in my house and nothing has come apart at all. And from the Dollar Tree, I had this Let It Snow cutout that I went ahead and put on. It's metal, and then I also took clothespins and made this snowflake. So I'm kind of showing you that I took the clothespins apart and glued the flat ends together, and then I kind of just glued a plus sign and then glued an X into that, so that way it made a snowflake. And then I took a little wooden snowflake ornament that I bought in a package of several from Walmart, and I stain it with the antique wax and then put that on there. And I do end up making, of course, a little twine bow, how'd you guess, right, to put in the middle of the snowflake because I thought it added a little bit. And at first I was really nervous that the Let It Snow was getting lost in the design on the bag. However, when my tree lights are on, it reflects in the metal and it looks so awesome. I love it. So here you can see my first sign that I did end up figuring out. And I hope that you guys learn from my mistakes, and I wanted to keep it in here because I wanted you to know that crafting does not always go perfect. It does not always go how you plan, and it's totally fine. If I had completely messed this up, what would I have been out? I mean, a box lid that essentially I paid $1 for, and some crafting sticks that I paid $1 for. So, you know, don't worry about it. And just go with it and embrace your mistakes, learn from them, and move on. If you guys like what you're seeing, would you go ahead and give this video a great big thumbs up? That would surely help my channel. Also, if you're not a subscriber, I would love if you would consider subscribing. That way you can keep up with all of the fun DIY inspiration that hopefully I am giving you. Okay, for my next DIY, I'm going to make a planter box out of these darling truck signs from Dollar Tree, and also using one of these rectangular word signs from Dollar Tree. So I actually found these in the clearance section at my Dollar Tree, which I had no idea that they had. That was totally news to me. One was missing its hanger tag. The other one had a little bit of a chip on the tree, so I put that one in the back. I'm just going to take the word sign, the rectangular word sign, and I'm just going to hot glue it down to provide the box. And then you're just going to take whatever greenery that you want to put in or use and place that in to kind of just make it look fantastic. I have had so many compliments on this little red truck that I have sitting on the table in my house. So many people have fallen in love with it, and it was so easy to do. it is complete. What do you guys think? I am so in love with how this turned out. I hope this inspired Dollar Tree to take a look at the signs they have and see what you can create. Thank you so much for joining me today, you guys. You are amazing. I would love it if you would consider subscribing to my channel and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also, be sure to check out my other DIY videos, and if you're on Instagram, come find me under Farm Charm Chic. Thanks so much for joining me today, you guys. We'll see you next time.